Y'all, all my videos are for entertainment purposes, so let's keep it real. Don't try any of this at home.
What on Bithaca do you get for a 540-year anniversary gift? I have no idea.
Welcome to a tiny magical little kingdom called Bithaca.
Oh, my begonias, there you are. We're so happy you came. All our adventures are for the young at heart. No matter what our age, this is our version of gnome gardening.
Episode 13, Daddy-Daughter Day. Well, hey! Welcome back, y'all. It is awfully nice to see you again. To support my channel, subscribe and click the notification button so you know whenever I release a new video. If you like my channel, please smash the like button. Come on, y'all. Let's go see what adventures is happening today. Bright and early the next morning, Bithaca woke up rather excitedly as she was going to get to see the king. She hurriedly got dressed and marched herself over to the haunted area to inform the king that there might be something down in the caverns. That is, once she could talk again after seeing him up close. This crushed thing is so embarrassing, she thought to herself, and smiled sweetly up at the king. Eridan, Gnome, and Layla had stopped by at the moment to inform the king he thought to take the day off to go cave exploring with his daughter.
Good morning, all.
Eri greeted.
Well, hello there, Ari. All's well with you today?
The king greeted fondly.
Oh, why, yes, sir. I just stopped to tell you that I was going cave exploring with my daughter. She's helping me come up with an ideal for mine and Blossom's anniversary.
Ari said, just a beaming. Wanting to help, Bithaca told him all about the little romantic stream she found, surrounded by the blue glowing mushrooms that reflected off the water, all around the cavern. You could take her there and see what she thinks, but I'd be careful as I think something is down there, Kara said in a bit of a warning.
I was about to go and check on this for Farrakara myself. Say, if you don't mind, old friend, as you and Layla are going to the caves, would you go and check on this place for me?
The king asked.
Oh, why, that would be our pleasure, your majesty.
Ari informed the king. At this, Kara was relieved and could stop worrying about what might be down there. After Kara told him how to get to the cavern, Ari waved goodbye, and he and his daughter headed off rather excitedly at the potential romantic spot to show Blossom. Bithaca and King Blaze watched them leave. Upon suddenly realizing that she was all alone with the king, Bithaca stumbled all over herself to excuse herself and leave. King Blaze could only scratch his head and say to himself as she had left in a hurry.
Most peculiar, child.
Ari couldn't wait to take Layla and start his daddy-daughter adventure together, doing the cave exploring that they loved to do. As he was passing the wish hut on his way to Layla's geode, he stopped to make a wish before heading on over. Once at the geode, they gathered what they needed to go explore, but first they headed to the bakery. All adventures in Bithaca begin and sometimes end at the bakery. Layla and her dad were on a bit of a mission for the king today. It's not every day the king asks for help, so Ari and Layla went inside the bakery to get all the food for their adventure. As usual with the bakery, there are always too many choices, and it will take a while. Finally, the adventure begins as the duo heads off towards the dragon's den. However, from his perch on top of the entrance cave, Veritas Dragon could see them coming. So he left his perch to hide inside so he could use his monster voice on his new rock system. Ari and Layla approached the dragon's den, expecting to see Veritas at his usual perch.
Well, where'd you get off to?
Ari said. Layla just shrugged her shoulders at her dad in reply. Bithaca's magic has a system that will shrink or enlarge you in order to visit realms within Bithaca itself. This is how all those caverns fit in the Dragon's Den area. So, once inside, Ari and Layla were shrunken to the appropriate size in order to fit. However, they were greeted with the ferocious growls of what sounded very large and very angry. Layla instinctively moved closer to her dad, who ushered her behind him as they continued to walk on in. Soon, Ari spotted it was Veritas making all the noises, using a new call rock system that distorted his voice. And, upon realizing that they had not yet been seen, as Veritas was having way too much fun trying to scare them, Ari snuck up on him. One unexpected
What are you doing?
caused a sound to escape from Veritas that made everyone burst out into laughter. Once they had regained themselves, Veritas asked if he could help them with anything.
I've come to spend the day with Layla, if that's all right with you.
Ari asked, as the caves were under the protection of the dragons.
Gnome, do you know which system you wish to explore?
Veritas asked. The one fairy car fell into the other day, Ari replied. Veritas walks over to his visitor's logbook and begins to write down that Ari and Layla would explore level 8. Looking up, he tells Ari to go to level 8, and with this, he waves them off to return to his perch. Father and daughter turned to head off towards the exit to the next level. Level after level they went down until reaching level 8. Here they looked around and noticed several passageways, and the sound of water somewhere off in the distance.
Well, Fairy Car mentions some water, so let's follow the sound until we find some.
Ari said to Layla.
Sounds like a plan, Dad.
Layla said, and the two headed off. Every now and again, they would stop and listen for water. They knew that they were close when the water sound started getting louder as they went. Finally, they found it when they walked around a corner of a passageway and stood in awe at the beauty of the place.
Wow.
They said, almost in unison.
Mom's gonna love this place. But how are you gonna get her down here, Dad? She doesn't like adventures.
Layla asked.
Well, what if I tell her it's a surprise and not an adventure?
Ari asked hopefully as he continued to take in the picture before him.
It might work, Dad, but, I don't know.
Layla said skeptically. Ari noticed that fresh rocks had been carved away from the ceiling of the mushroom cave, giving it a bit of a more headroom. But by who or what? He thought to himself. Layla suddenly shouts.
What was that?
What?
A startled Ari asked, shooting glances in all directions in the cave.
Over there. Something moved, Dad.
Layla pointed towards the outcropping of the rocks above them.
Let's check it out.
Ari said, and with this, the two were climbing. Something moved again above them, and tiny rocks began to fall down at them, as whatever it was scurried away. Higher and higher they climbed, when suddenly Ari grabbed hold of a metal foot. Next thing you know, he's suspended in midair out over the rocks he had just climbed. Ari was trying to hang on for dear life as that metal foot was trying to shake him loose. Once he got flung off, he proceeded to fall very fast. He is a stone gnome after all. Layla jumped off to catch her dad, as she has wings, but Ari was way too heavy, and they both fell in the water beneath them. Why, that water drifted them right into a whirlpool. Round and round and round they went. Oh my goodness. Why, the poor things were slingshotted around inside that whirlpool as if in one of those human pinball machines, only to get raised up into the air by a waterspout, and then dunked back into the water to drift further downstream. Finally, this water ride came to an end, and they drifted to shore and sputtered out a lot of water. Harry checked to see if his daughter was okay, before collapsing beside her on the sandy ground, totally exhausted. One very stunned father could only roll his eyes as he heard from his daughter, once she could catch her breath,
That was awesome.
Layla all but shouted to no one in particular. Irie just continued to lay upon the ground, convinced that she had suddenly lost her mind. Yep, lost her mind. He silently exhaled and began the process of pulling himself together. After regaining their strength to move, they returned to the mushroom cave, but of course there was no sign of the robot.
I don't think he was trying to hurt us, Dad. I just think he was startled and just wanted you to let go of him.
Layla said to her dad.
Yeah, I thought so too at the time, but I couldn't grab the rocks and I didn't want to fall into the water.
Irie said.
Well, I don't think we're going to find him now, and I've about had enough adventure for one day, sweetie.
Ari said. Thanks for trying to save me back there, kiddo. Ari continued as he gave her a hug. Layla hugged him right back and said,
Aw, Dad, anytime.
She then humorously asked for 10 more minutes to explore the caverns.
Rotten child.
Ari lovingly expressed. Layla smiled sweetly at her dad, and father and daughter began to head on home after that, but continued to explore a little bit as they made their way out of the Dragon's Den caverns. They informed Veritas that they were done, and all about the robot, to which he jotted down as a log entry in his book after thanking them and making sure they were okay. Before heading home, Ari and Layla went to inform the king that Bithaca had a hidden robot in the caves and that Kara was correct. In thinking that she had seen something down there, King Blaze thanked the two of them and commended Layla for saving her dad. A very proud papa walked his baby home, and the two told Blossom all about their adventure. Blossom was very proud of her daughter and thanked her husband for returning home to her safely. At this, it was a family hug moment. It was sure nice spending some time with you. Y'all come on back for our next adventure. We'd love to see you. Until we meet again, be kind to one another. Bye now.
We sure do thank you all for tapping those buttons. Like, subscribe, and share.
May the magic of wonder always fill your heart.